Hello, I'm going to explain decision matrices in this video. A decision matrix is a common tool used by engineers to help them make complex decisions. It can help you turn opinions into numbers so that you can tally up those numbers for results. It works a lot like a rubric that a teacher might use to grade an assignment. Engineers typically work on teams, and as I'm sure you know, making a decision as a team isn't always easy, especially when you're judging each individual person's ideas. A lot of emotions can get mixed into the decision-making process, and a decision matrix helps to minimize some of that drama. A decision matrix helps your team to pick the idea that's best for the current project rather than someone's favorite idea or the idea that has a nicely drawn sketch. We're going to go through a simple decision matrix first, and then show you a more complex one. First, we're going to pretend that Bob is looking for a pet. He isn't sure which one to get, and he goes to a store and sees some pretty standard options. A bird, a fish, a dog, a cat, and a hamster. He can use a decision matrix to help him decide which pet is best for him. On the screen, you see a blank decision matrix. The first thing you would do is fill out the first column, which is all of the different options. The next would be to fill out the criteria across the top. These are whatever your team would decide is best for the project, or in this case, things that Bob is concerned about as a pet owner. Bob works a long day, so he needs the pet to be okay on its own. He's okay with whatever upfront cost he has to pay to get the pet and their supplies, but he's a little worried about weekly expenses, so he wants the pet to not cost very much on a weekly basis. And lastly, he's decided that he wants a pet that can snuggle. Next, we have to decide how each is going to be scored. There are two main ways that you can tally up your scores, either with the most amount of points being the best idea or the least amount of points being the best idea. And I casually call those the basketball and golf methods. The basketball method, the more points the better, and in the golf method, fewer points is better, just like in both of the sports. Now we're going to score each of the pets using the criteria that we've selected, and I'm going to show you a simpler method first, although it's not necessarily the best, and that is what I casually call the yes-no method. So I would write that down because you always want to tell which method you used. And in this case, because I'm doing the basketball method, yes is going to be worth 2 points, and no would be worth 0 points. So a cat is okay on its own during the day, so it gets 2 points. A dog needs to be walked and could maybe go a regular work day, but not a really long one. A bird could probably do okay, but birds need a lot of attention. A 0, because you don't want your neighbors getting mad at a squawking bird. A fish is totally okay on its own during the day, so is a hamster. So you can see that this method's pretty simple. You put points for a yes and no points for a 0. The problem that can be is if you only use yes, no, it's really likely you'll end up with a tie at the end. And a tie does not help you to make a decision. The next way to score each criterion is the rank method. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas to choose from. And since I'm using the basketball method, more points is better. So the best weekly cost, or basically the cheapest animal, is going to get a 5, and the most expensive weekly cost will get a 1. There we go. For this method, a fish is pretty cheap to keep week to week. Then you have your hamster. I went ahead and tied the dog and cat at 3 each. So I've tied the dog and cat because they have similar or at least balanced needs, and I've put the bird as the worst because depending on the kind of bird you have, I guess in my mind I was thinking a parrot. Parrots need to chew on toys, and they generally destroy those toys at a pretty quick pace, and bird toys are really expensive. And that's why I rank them that way. Of course, a different person might have different opinions. That's okay. So for the last one, for snuggle, you could do this as a yes, no, or a rank. In this case, I'm just going to do a yes, no situation. Again, I'm always going to tell how I'm ranking each criterion. Cats can snuggle, dogs can snuggle. Birds can't really snuggle. You can scritch them, but that's not the same. You definitely can't cuddle your fish, and hamsters can cuddle. So what I do next is add up across the rows. So the cat got a score of 7, the dog got a score of 5, the bird got a score of 1, the fish got a score of 7, and the hamster got a score of 8. So in this particular case, it looks like a hamster is probably Bob's best choice for a pet. You might have different criteria or rank them differently, and that's how a decision matrix works. Every group in the room is going to be doing a decision matrix on the same project, but have completely different results, and that's okay. Again, it's not a correct answer situation. It is a decision-making tool to help groups make logical decisions. So next, I'm going to show you a more complex decision matrix that it will be a little bit more similar to what you use in class. There's lots of different things that you can use to judge your ideas, and it depends on the project. Here are some samples. I'm not going to read through them because you can pause and read through them, but I wanted you to be able to see them. So in this case, a group is looking to make some 3D puzzle pieces, of which you can see an example at the top of each material. They have 6 materials to choose from, and they want to know which one is going to be the best for making a 3D puzzle piece. We have clay and its properties. We have caramel cubes and their properties. Dice and their properties. Centimeter or linking cubes and their properties. Foam blocks. And finally, sugar cubes. So this matrix is set up the same way. Decision matrix do not need to be color-coded. I did that just so that you can see the consistency. So again, here in the first column, we have the 6 different ideas. Across the top, we have the criteria being used to judge those ideas, the totals on the side, and each column notes how each criterion was graded, either using the best ranking system or the yes-no system. I do have teams ask me all the time if they can put a 1 if the group can't agree on a yes-no situation, and of course you can. It's your decision matrix. I recommend using that as few times as possible, but it's your group, it's your decision. So according to how this group set up their decision matrix, it looks like this group would be best off using the linking cubes for their puzzle making solution. Although again, another group in the same room may have had a different result come out as best for their team, and that's okay. Again, you're not finding a correct answer, you're finding what is most likely the best choice for your group in that current situation. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you.